All right, family, happy Sunday to you guys. Out here in all of God's glory, getting my baptism today. First surf in a long time. Super clear skies today. Look at this. Look at this mountain range. Jeez. Look at the surf. Epic day. There's been a lot going on in my world, lots of education, lots of insights, too much to share in one video, always trying to keep things clear and concise and packaged, but this is probably going to be a bit of a rant, sharing multiple ideas. Sunday for me is a day of reestablishing myself, my clarity, my connection to that which is most important, my purpose, my direction, and my drive in life. Everything else, all of my work, the way I choose to eat, my training, my relationships, are all chosen to support that. They all support whatever my purpose, my drive, my chosen destiny is. So to have a consistent reestablishment, a consistent reset of that which is most important, is extremely valuable. Finding the ways that work for you to do that are extremely valuable. One for me is getting in the surf, getting in the ocean, getting into nature, just totally resets, get away from technology, get into some raw nature and be reminded of the impermanence of all of these things we have and what's really deeper than that that's driving us. I could rant on that forever. What I'd like to say is in the past week and a half or so, I've really been going through some intense depths of experiencing the duality within myself. And it's been both sides. It's been an ass kicking and it's been enlightening. Ultimately, in the highest degree, I'm excited. I'm super stoked about what I'm discovering. Some of it has been a bit of a setback. I've been kind of like kicking my own ass, some self-destructive habits. But the insight that I've gained during that period has been really useful. So I haven't really been training that much for the last 2 weeks or so. In a bit of a way, I fell off the wagon, so to speak. I got hazy, I got unclear, and I always do my best to try and trace myself back to be like, all right, what just happened? Where did I go? I was on my shit for a while. How did I fall off? So basically started with me working on mastering my sleep, right? I started by trying this crazy incline bed therapy, which I'm still doing, but I started it at too much of an increase. Basically, you're just lifting the head of your bed up to sleep on, an experiment like I'm constantly experimenting on that I learned about and I was trying out. First night I tried that, it wrecked my sleep. Second night I started getting into all that fiber stuff, the microbiota, probiotics, prebiotics, and wrecked my sleep about 3 nights in a row consistently because of experimentation. So then I was 4 nights deep of like shit sleep, and it really reminded me of the value of the sleep, because once I was tired, the day just seemed so long. My clarity, my ability to see into my future, to remember my vision, what I'm working for, is just not there. It's like your vision's blurry and you can only see about 10 feet in front of you. And metaphorically in your life, that's about, to the end of the day, right? You're not looking 10 years in the future or towards the end of your life. You're looking like to lunchtime. So that's how I kind of started a downhill slide, was getting tired and getting off. And then that led me to choosing to break my fast for lunch one day in a celebratory mode. Celebrated, and then the next day I basically indulged pretty much all day. I broke around 11 with Irish coffee, and basically fasted on Irish coffee for a day. It was fantastic. So part of me just went on vacation, right? I felt the lack of clarity in my direction, and I wanted more, and I didn't want to resist these urges that I was having. I didn't want to resist these cravings for whatever kind of food I was wanting, or to drink Irish coffee, or to do whatever it was. I was more intrigued to actually know, why do I want this? Why do I crave this? And so part of me was breaking to an indulgence. Another part of me was consciously witnessing that which craves, curiously wondering why I crave and what it is that I do crave. And so I had this simultaneous experience of like self-destruction and self-insight into my reasoning. Extremely deep understanding, because to understand our reasons and why we're craving what we're craving, that's the first step to overcoming and changing. Because I ultimately believe that to live this kind of lifestyle, the one that I'm working towards, the one that I've been upholding, doesn't need to require that much will. I believe when the body's in an optimal state of health and when your lifestyle is super balanced, you can actually establish and maintain a lifestyle like this. But that's the thing, it's a whole lifestyle. Because like I said, when you're living on this fine of a line, you have just the right amount of energy, you're extremely efficient, your sleep has to be dialed, your conscious needs to be clean and clear, you have to be taking care of your responsibilities, have your life simplified so you're not overstressed, have your nutrition. It's a full spectrum thing. So for me, on this edge, I got off on sleep, combined with wrecking my digestive tract by eating stuff that wasn't the best ever, and simultaneously ingesting more fiber and prebiotics than I have ever. So I basically just created this like backup and stagnation and lack of clarity, lack of sleep, and overindulgence. And what it did was give me an opportunity, because I was like, oh yeah, I remember this place. I've been here so many times before. How do I get out of this? Because that place, that state that I'm in, is what I believe most people are in chronically. That's where most people operate from. They're like, oh, all right, breakfast, work, lunch, and they're just going from one craving to the next, constantly trying to fill this thing because they don't feel good. They're uncomfortable, they're tired, they're overworked, they're undernourished, they're just lacking fulfillment in life, lacking clarity. And I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to really come out from a depth, document my way out, and then share it. So I'm doing my best to really break it into pieces, because I have recovered, so to speak, so many times. I've fallen and gotten back up. I've failed and retried so many times that I'm really efficient at resetting myself. There are certain things I know that really work, like getting in cold water, getting into nature, fasting. If you can't get yourself to fast, find a way to rest, get some really good sleep. There are certain things that help you reset that switch and re-begin again. Get clarity on what it is you actually want. Reestablish that which is most important to you, because that's your driving force. And without that driving force, what's going to support your discipline? What's going to support that willpower to change and develop? Wow, fascinating stuff. And so I've basically been dropping way deep. Like a couple videos back, I shared how I was getting into the microbiota, probiotics, prebiotics. I've just been obsessively fascinated with this realm, even while I was, so basically I broke my fasts. I did 2 half days where I ate after 2 o'clock. Well, one I ate after 11 with Irish coffee, and another I ate after 2 o'clock, and the third day I didn't even count calories. So I ended up definitely like being off the program for about 3 days. By the way, before that, question I know a lot of you guys have, before I broke off my amount of calories and my timing with my fasting, I was maintaining 139.5 pounds for a week. So far I had gained 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4.5 pounds, eating 1,300 calories, same amount of calories, and training more. So this definitely put a higher energetic demand on me. And once my sleep was off, once I had a variable that wasn't supportive to my to my life, then the whole thing came down, right? Basically what happened is I jumped in too fast to these other experiments. The incline bed therapy, I was like, just start as high as it goes. The fiber stuff, I just jumped to like 100 grams of fiber a day. So it's very important to ease into things, which I've had a lot of trouble with, and it definitely takes self-control, self-discipline to get to that state. Still learning that one for sure. Yeah. So that's what I recommend when somebody's trying to get into this lifestyle, when somebody's trying to begin fasting, getting into intermittent fasting. So many people just jump in and start doing, trying to get to 2 hours a day without easing in. And there's an art to incrementally dosing yourself with these stresses, to slowly building up. So take your time and ease in. Slowly bring the calories down, slowly make the windows smaller, slowly like cut out the junk of what it is you're eating, and it'll become more sustainable. Now, if you have enough of a story, enough of will, enough of an emotional drive and clarity in your purpose, it's possible to just drop it all and reset right away. I have no doubt with that. And if you can do that, do it. I highly support that. But in my experience, easing into things is just a much nicer way to treat your body and yourself. So take your time, ease in. Where was I? So many things. Yep. Had maintained 139.5 pounds. Basically haven't been training that much the last 2 weeks. Last time I maxed out though, my strength has definitely gone up. My lifts, I was deadlifting 270 8 times, which is good for me. So setting records with the lifts, not losing weight, feeling fucking good until I fell off the sleep game. So getting my sleep game dialed, going to bed early, got the fiber thing happening incrementally. Fascinated in this microbiota world, the prebiotics, probiotics, blows my mind. It is what I believe is going to bring balance to these cravings, right? We crave food because internally we're starving. Our microbiota is like our personal garden that we're carrying around with us, right? That's like our soil that we create based on what we eat. And being a gardener, I understand you want to collect and breed and feed the right organisms in your soil. They help the plants pull in nutrients and develop. They help the plants create the things they need to protect themselves from insects, from disease. So having the proper life, bacterially, fungally, in the soil is extremely important. And it's the same thing when it comes to us humans. We have to learn how to cultivate the proper relationships with our earth. And I've just been having major insights and breakthroughs with this in such a fascinating way that it's been penetrating my dreams, where I'm dreaming about formulating these things. And I've been getting into making prebiotic, probiotic yogurt, kefir, and it's been fascinating. The more I do it, the less I've been craving. I believe that these cravings are a result of us having the wrong bacteria in us. We're getting the wrong signals, and the good bacteria are starving. They're like, please feed us. And we're like, okay, cool. And so we eat, but the food we eat does not consider the healthy bacteria in our gut. We have to learn what it is they like to eat so we can feed them properly. And I believe when we do that, I know when we do that, there's so many studies out there. There's thousands of different types of bacteria. There's so many benefits they impart on us. Everything from some of them produce oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, like enough said, right? Lower inflammation, activate gene responses in our body that increase longevity. It's insane the amount of influence that these guys have on us. It's a symbiotic relationship. We work together. So it's a total detach from our own gut, from our own body. And that's what I'm seeing reflected in the world, is humans in general are detached from Earth, right? We're just destroying our planet, and we don't actually see that we are our planet. Like the trash you throw out goes right in the ground. right? And if you were still growing a garden, you'd be like, hey, I don't want that in there. That's going right into my food. But since we're so detached from it, it goes away to some landfill. We don't think about it. Since we don't actually go out and get our food from the ground every day, we don't think like, oh, hey, maybe I should stop littering, or what are those chemicals that are in my shampoo that's going into the soil? We're so detached from it, and I believe that is why we see such a level of psychosis and such insanity, such schizophrenic activity in the human race, this self-destructive, totally detached from Earth reality we're living in. And that's why I'm fascinated. The more that I've been feeding and learning about my microbiota, my probiotics, the more intuitive feeling I have had in myself. It's been fascinating. One, haven't had the cravings for sugar nearly as much. I'm watching it diminish. Haven't had the cravings for food nearly as much. And even things that I normally drink, like I was going to drink some coffee yesterday, I took a sip and I was like, my body just doesn't want that right now. The power of my intuition, the power of my feeling, my knowing is elevating. And I believe the more that I feed that positive aspect of myself, the positive consciousness, they call our gut our second brain, right? So if your second brain is dominated by shitty bacteria, what kind of a conflict are you gonna have inside? Those are parasites, right? You can either be growing parasites or best friends inside of you. So if you're got parasites that are destroying you, you have all these negative thoughts, influences, because they directly affect your emotional body, the chemistry in your brain directly affected by the stuff in your gut. It is your second brain. It's the second largest collection of neurons in your body is in your gut. So if your second brain is a schizophrenic psychopath because he's born of McDonald's and shit waste, what kind of internal communication is that going to create in your body with your own mind? So I'm finding the more that I feed the positive, the more that I feed the bacteria that I want to be there, the better I feel for no reason. They're there, they're stoked to be fed, and when they're fed properly, they release all sorts of beneficial fuels, chemicals, healing agents, stimulus for us. It's teamwork. We're working together. We just have to learn how to support each other, and it makes eating not a selfish thing anymore. It's half of what I'm eating is for me, half of what I'm eating is for my microbiota. There's actually more DNA in my body, there's more mass or cells in my body that are bacteria than there are that is Spencer-Mack. I am basically like a ship for a bunch of bacteria, right? And if I can consciously decide and choose the proper food to feed them, then I cultivate the best kind possible. Fascinating. It's been blowing my mind. I've been just like totally into this recently, and I'm formulating all these different ways to get prebiotics and probiotics, and I'm going to share recipes, all that jazz. Like I said, this video is a bit of a rant. There's been a lot happening in my world, and I find that duality that like, oh, that part of me that wants those self-destruct habits, which I've had major problems with in the past, crazy addiction to sugary, sweet foods, overindulgences. What is that craving, and why is that even a part of life? Why is food such a big fucking deal? Why isn't it just simple? Why do we crave these things that we know are gonna hurt us? Have you ever woken up the next day, you know, you wake up in the morning, you're like, man, I wish I had had another beer last night. I wish I had had some more pizza. We've never regretted in not ingesting more of that stuff. We definitely have regretted ingesting some of that stuff. So why do we crave these things we know destroy us? Because that's a parasitic mindset. And I'm seeing experientially, the more that I consciously am feeding my beneficial, life-supportive bacteria, the less of those cravings I'm having. So I'm extremely excited with where this is heading. My body is also starting to feel a lot better. My sleep is getting deeper. A lot of people on this one protocol I'm looking at, check out Free the Animal. Resistant starch is a major player in feeding your probiotics, your positive bacteria in your gut. A lot of information on that site. A lot of people getting into this start having more vivid dreams and deeper sleep, and so I'm starting to rest more. Oh, also the microbiota influences your ability to absorb nutrition. I just saw a research study released a few days ago. It was on chickens, animals, and they fed chickens prebiotics and probiotics versus chickens that didn't have them. The chickens that got the prebiotics and probiotics needed less food to build more mass. right? To actually develop more. They became more efficient based on the bacteria in their gut to develop more mass, more muscle, more lean tissue actually. They had lower fat and higher lean tissue. So they were using it to, grow, basically to farm chickens, so they're looking at saving money on feed costs is what they're doing. But that runs exactly with the experiment that I'm doing. The healthier my internal bacteria and intestinal system is, the less I have to eat, the more I can absorb, and the more that I can develop, so I can really maintain and grow with less than most because of my internal efficiency. Amazing stuff. A lot of research coming out on this stuff. Fascinating. So now the sleep's been getting better, I'm absorbing more nutrition, I'm back, I'm at 1,300 calories. I went off for 3 days, and in those 3 days I gained 4 pounds. It was pretty easy for me to do. So I'm gonna wait till I'm about 3 weeks in at 1,300 calories again before I can consider what I'm at, a clear marker of the experiment, because I went off for a little bit. So after 3 weeks of maintaining 1,300, I'll update you guys on that protocol and program. I'm gonna do my best to throw in these recipes of the things I'm working on for the microbiota. Fascinating stuff. Woo! Man, life is crazy. So when you get down, when you fall off, like, be gentle with yourself, take your time, and be more curious about why am I doing this? And when you're indulging, take the time. Like, say you like to drink. When you go out and you do get drunk, bring a pad and paper with you and think about your dreams. What do you really want? Write them down. When you're getting high, like, what do you really want? Write it down on a piece of paper and get it really clear. And understand it's a full spectrum thing. If your sleep is off, you're gonna crave more food. You're gonna need more food. So we gotta balance our sleep, our food, our nutrition, our training, our environment, our relationships, our responsibilities. It's a very, very diverse game we're playing. So ease in, take your time, make changes slowly, be gentle with yourself, and feed your gut the good stuff, right? Let's start developing a good relationship with the earth. Let's rebuild the soil. And being a farmer, I'm so blown away and excited to start developing the soil at the farm, and to really get into that now that I'm seeing the power of bacteria and fungi and soil. Fascinating. Awesome, guys. Lots of love. Keep kicking ass. See you in the future. Peace.